Hello, class. Uh, Good afternoon. First and foremost, this is CMP 401, Organization of Programming Languages. And this lecture note is going to be a form of hybrid of physical classes and online classes. At the same time, the course is going to be a form of theory and practical. And for most of you joining the class for the first time, I want to believe you have a foundational knowledge in computer science, and you, if you don't, of course, since this is 401, you might have been taking some computer programming courses from your first semester to third semester. This is your fourth semester, so it's a pleasure that you must have taken some computer programming courses. So this course is about the organization of some basic programming languages. You understand what programming languages is all about, are programs and software. You're all aware of the need to write a program in order to make computer, in order to set out a task for computing so as to perform seamless operations for human. And if you want your computer systems to deliver a specific task to help women, you must communicate with the computer using the language it understands. And some of these languages, if I will ask you, you are more familiar about them. At least two or three programming languages you should be familiar with. So in this course, we discuss the content with you. This course is about the fundamental principle of those programming languages, and it's also going to cover an introduction to introduction to computer programming and techniques in some programming languages, including their designs and implementation. We're talking about programming languages. There are tens or 20 programming languages. If I ask you to start listing them, you will have listed like 30 among them. So that doesn't mean we are going to consider the organization of all these programming languages. But in real time, we shall consider the organization of programming languages that have turned out to be an inseparable part of our daily life. And if I were ask you what are the programming languages you are much familiar with, let's start with the general classes. Hello, young woman and gentlemen. Maybe you can just share with me, or maybe put in the comment note where you're going to be sharing with me what are the common programming languages you are more familiar with. I want to believe you are familiar with C at your university, your first degree at C, and you are also familiar with C++, which is an extension of C. I see a lot of you thinking about Python and Java programming languages. So if what I'm thinking is what I'm thinking, then I guess my assumption is right. You are all familiar with this programming language. I'm not saying you can code effectively in these programming languages, but at least you must have had them. You must have write some lines of instruction on these programming languages, or you must have been given a simple task on this programming language. But let me impress you that these programs are still on top of the chart of popular programming languages among most programmers, because they have features of both low as well as high level languages. I will explain better low level programming languages and high level programming languages as the class progresses. Now let's go back again, maybe to go back to my question. How are you familiar with some of these programming languages? Let's quickly see some of the main programming languages. For anyone that sees this, maybe I should ask you, ideally you're a class rep. I hope you are familiar with this. And I'm yet to meet all the class member. Maybe at the WhatsApp session, please drop your name and your name is okay, so that I can know who I'm actually taking the class with. Though I know some of you, but I want to believe some of you also knows me. So back to this class, we have some of these most main programming languages. They are not all the programming languages. Anyone that sees this knows that it is a Java programming symbols, isn't it? This is, and anyone that sees this already knows that this is a Python programming languages. And of course, someone said this is PHP, hypertext preprocessor. Okay, I mean hypertext preprocessor programming languages. So without further introduction, everyone knows that this is C++. Okay, and everyone knows that this is Kotlin. I don't know, maybe you are familiar with Kotlin programming language, and everyone knows that this is that. These are some of the programming language. They might not appear to be common to you, but they are also programming language. This is JSON. That's JSON node. Is another programming language. I'm going to be differentiating between these programming languages and some script, because not all of them could be considered as programming language. So, but when we say these are the main programming language, I have C, I have C++, I have Java, I have Python. Then there are some web development languages which can as well be referred to as script programming language, such as HTML, that is hypertext markup languages, and CSS, that is a cascade style sheet. These are web programming tools, and this is your JavaScript. It's different from Java, from even appearance and from core functions. One is core programming language, while one is scripting programming languages. So let's maintain that lane. Okay, of course, there are other programming languages you may need to get familiar with. Depends on what you want to do or the tasks you have at hand. But one important thing about these programming languages, they have their own rules, syntax, and semantics, and that is one of the main highlights of this course: rules, syntax, and semantics. At the same time, let us consider the way you use your language, maybe human languages, for instance. You realize that um, we have most of us speak in English, isn't it? And English has its own rules, it has its own syntax. So if you speak in the previous, you are using past tense. If you are going to be speaking in respect of what is yet to come, you are using future continuous tenses, and there are rules, syntax, and ways you can make this. And the reason why these rules are laid is to get people to understand what you actually mean. So the same thing with computer programming as well. We have some certain rules and syntax. If you misplace this syntax, the computer might be confused, and it might not be able to perform the task given to it. And that is why we need to understudy some of the basic syntax of these programming languages. So when we look at programming languages, I said I'm going to be taking you through the introduction to computer programs, and in this course I will be considering some basic programming languages. And within this basic programming language, we're going to look at the programming environment. That is, normally for you to use any of these programs, you must set up and integration development environment, that is your IDE or your code studio, where you are going to be developing this code using the syntax and its acceptable rules. And of course, we are going to be looking at basic syntax. If you Google, you know what syntax means. That is the rules of engagement, and we have the semantics as well. And also we're going to be looking at data type. Data type is just like input, because your programs must be supplied with an input, and this input will determine the type of instruction it will perform and the type of output it will give you. So these inputs are classified under data type. For instance, if you want to, you can use and you can set your computer to take an alphabetical input from the user. You can set your computer to take a string. You can take your computer to set a decision using Boolean data type. And we're going to be talking about different data types in programming languages. And of course, we need to look at variables, what variables means, because these are essential tools you will need to understand as your programming language journey continues. Variables are they are tools. I mean, they are entities that remain change, because you consider variable from the end user perspective. That is, end user will have different needs. So, and likewise, we have the keywords. Those are the words that doesn't change. They are computer generated keywords. And we also have operators. Operators will make your programs to function, and that's made your programs to be dynamic, including the decision statement and loop. So you may have to combine two or more statements together. You need to use operator syntax to join them together. And at the same time, in your programming journey, you may have to make decision. Maybe if you want, if a program perform better, it can go to the next level, and if otherwise, it can revisit the previous statement. These are decision in programming language. All of you already understand what loops operation are, and how do we use loops. What are the importance of this loops operation in your programming languages? You may have to continue a task until specific instance is given. And numbers, characters, arrays, strings, and functions are important important techniques we need to understand as far as organization of programming languages is concerned. Of course, you know, characterizes arrays of numbers, strings, and functions, then the file input and output. Every program, every computer program must accept an input, process it, and gives you an output. So we need to understand the input formats of some specific programming languages, output formats of some specific programming language, and many more. Okay, I hope you understand this introduction. So we need to go forward. And why we are so much concerned about organization of programming languages is this. It's assumed that you already have the knowledge of at least one programming language. If you consider this programming language, you realize that its ways of operation might be different from another programming language. Let's assume you are used to Visual Basic or COBOL or Fortran, for instance. The syntax of Fortran might be different from the syntax of COBOL, and these are the reason why we need to study the organization of these programming languages. And what we are so much particular about is their predefined syntax. There are predefined rules which needs to be followed to write this program effectively. So just like we have different languages, we also have programming languages that have its own syntax. I don't know, maybe you are familiar with Chinese gesture. It has a lot of indication, and some of these gesture, if you use them in natural English environment, it might mean otherwise. So what signal is organized structure. There are different structure of languages. Okay, and when we are considering some of these languages, we also consider several elements such as verb, noun, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. So these are some elements that will make your programming language more effective and more easy to understand. So similar to human interface languages, computer programming languages are made of several elements. And these are the elements we are going to be highlighting. Some of the basic elements are the programming environment. Java has its own different programming environment. C++ has its own programming environment which is different from Python and that. Also, we have the basic syntax, data types, variables, keyword, and so on and so forth, as you can see on this screen. So we will try to explain all these elements in subsequent lesson with examples. However, we'll try to understand the meaning of these terms in general, okay, whereby we're going to be particular about some most popular programming languages. So again, let me put to the class. Do you think or do you agree that these three programming languages are the most popular? C programming, Java programming, and Python programming. If you agree, just drop at the comment section why do you think these three programming languages are popular and which one would you like to concentrate more on. Okay. However, a major part of these classes will be explained by taking C and Python as our preferred programming language, though we're going to cover Java as well. Okay, and I believe if I'm covering C, I might have delved on to C++ elements as well. Then we need to show how similar the concept works in these programming languages. So after completion of this course, you will be quite familiar with these programming languages, and that's what I want you to. So another reason why you need to study the concept of programming languages, in the same way you need to study three communication languages. For instance, you study English, you study Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. This will be it will give you a lot of help and a lot of advantage. And of course, you can develop your own style of communication when you get to this environment. But as far as programming language is concerned, studying the concept of programming language will increase your ability to express ideas. In computer programming, it's more particular to be able to develop an algorithm in the theoretical setting. But in natural language, the depth at which you think is influenced by the expressive power of the language you use. Do you agree that? The depth at which you think is influenced by the expressive power of the language you use. So in programming language, the complexity of the algorithm that people implement is influenced by the set of constructs available in the programming languages. We will be talking about algorithm because it is this first step towards solving a problem. You don't just burst into a programming environment without understanding how you want the programs to behave. So studying different programming language will increase your ability to express ideas and develop algorithms, no matter how complex they are. Two, the reason for studying concept of programming language is to improve your programming background, and you will be able to choose appropriate languages. Just like we said, we have different programming. We have different programming languages, and what are the factors responsible for the use of any of these programming languages? Maybe I want to write in Python. What will be the factor? What factor do you think will be responsible for the usage of these programs? Okay, Python, PHP. What are the things you consider when you want to use this programming language? Is anyone going to think about this? Okay. So another reason why you will need to study, reason why you need to study the concept of programming language is to increase your ability to learn new language. When you understand one programming language, you can actually learn another new languages. And it's not as if all these programming languages are so technical and difficult. As technology advances, we are trying to simplify this programming language and how they can be more flexible, how they can be more integrated to other platform, how they can simplify functions, simplify your declarations. If not for the passion for studying the concept of these programming languages, there won't be a better programming language as today is. There won't be a better programming language. That is, this input has really yielded in developing or identifying better ways of writing programs. Another reason is knowing the concept of object-oriented programming language. It will make learning Java significantly easier for you. And of course, knowing the grammar of one's native language make it easier to learn another language. You understand? So if you understand the grammar of one native language, maybe Igbo for instance, it will make it easier for you to learn Hausa because you need to use the same maybe the same knowledge techniques. And another reason why we need to study the organization of programming language is to better understand the significance of implementation. For every program you develop must be implemented, and when you are implementing this programming language, you remember they have different environments, and you must be able to use a better environment that will give you the end of use. And also better use of language that are already known will enhance the overall computing environment. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, I come across some. I've joined the Zoom, but unfortunately, I I waited on the Zoom platform for 1 hour. I didn't see anyone. No, I just noticed one person have joined. Okay, I can see it's not connecting. The network is bad. Network is very bad and unable to connect. Okay, I'm going to make this easy for you because I'm going to send you the link to these classes whereby you need to watch and you revise on it. Your note is inclusive and my audio explanation is also inclusive. So let's go back to our programming language environment. Okay, let me go back to the programming, to the different programming languages we have. Some of these programming you need to hello, hello, wizards. Please call me later. I'm in the class. Okay. So some of these programming languages can be applied in different domains. For instance, we can apply some of these programming languages in scientific application domain, data processing environment, text processing application, artificial intelligence application, then system programming application, and of course, web software application. Do you understand this? If you do, let me take you through another chart again. Again, let me repeat. Most of these programming language can be applied in different settings, that is in different environments. Can be applied in scientific application, data processing application, text processing, artificial intelligence, system programming, and web software. And looking at this programming languages, so let's be a kind of brainstorming. In which domain do you think Java can highly be applied? In which domain do you think Python can be highly applied, as well as PHP, as well as C++ and Kotlin? So which domain do you think this programming environment can be readily applied? I've answered this one. Your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript can readily be applied in web development domain. I know do you understand that now? So I heard someone said the use of Java can be used to develop high complex computing application. Yes, you are right. The use of Python can be deployed in robotic processing or high-level interactive or prediction and forecasting application environment. Yeah, all of us we seems to be right. So let us look at some programming languages that are applicable in scientific applications. These programming languages are predominantly they manipulate numbers and arrays, and consider some programming languages that use mathematical and statistical principle as a basic for their algorithm. Okay, so we're talking about some programming languages that are applicable in scientific application domain. And scientific computing include statistical areas, mathematical and linear modeling, regression analysis, numerical approximation, and a lot of this. So you agree that some of these programming languages are readily applicable in scientific domains such as Fortran, Pascal, MATLAB. I have someone saying SPSS. Yeah, of course, it's another language too as well. So some of these programming languages are applied in scientific domain. And take note, if you are to study some of these programming languages, they have their different language structure, and that is what we are concerned about in this class. We also have some set of programming languages that are applicable in data processing domain. These programming languages are for those who are predominantly interested in the creation, maintenance, extraction, and summarization of data in records and files. So you will consider COBOL as a programming language that can be used for data processing application. And what are some of these programming languages that are applied or in text processing environment? You consider C language because it has a strong text processing capability and artificial intelligence environment. These programs, which are designed principally to emulate human intelligence or human behavior, they include game playing algorithms such as chess, natural language processing, computer vision, robotic, and expert system. Examples of this programming language that can be applied in this environment are Lisp, which has been predominantly AI programming language. Prolog, using the principle of logic programming, like you remember those. Then lately, artificial intelligence applications have been written in Java, C++, and Python. So as a takeaway, if you are going to be developing an AI application, you would be referencing some of these high-level programming language, including Java and C++. Hope you understand that. And that is why we're going to be focusing on these three. And we also have some programming languages that are applicable in system programming domain. That is, those programs that involve developing programs that interface with computer system. Some of these are ADA and modular, and of course C. Web software domain that includes the collections of languages such as markup, which is your HTML, and some scripting programming languages that you can use for dynamic content, under which we have CSS, JavaScript, ASP, and PHP. So you can see from the organizational structure of programming language, some programming languages are not actually high-level programming language. They are what? They are client-side programming languages. And of course, we have the general purpose executable programs that can be executed on the web, such as Java and C++. I hope this is clear. So consider any programming language you are going to be listing. They all fall under certain application domain, which is very important to know. So it depends on you. If you are working on system programming, you need to study some programming languages related to system programming. If you are working on web software, you need to be more familiar with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. If you are working within the artificial intelligence application, You must be familiar with the organizations of programming languages such as Lisp, Prolog, Java, C++, and Python. Of course, everyone said is familiar with text processing applications. Of course, consider Snowball and C languages because of their language interactivities. Do anyone have questions? In the next video, I'm going to be explaining the criteria for some of this language evaluation and the comparison. I will not make this video download to be long. I'll stop it now while I'll continue with episode 2. Thank you for listening.